I'm co-founder and chairman of Oasis Second Chance Animal Shelter. In short, it's called Oscars. And I'm also the vice chairman of the Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, that's the SPCA. Now, before I progress further, I would like to thank the school for inviting me to come to share with you my journey through a road less traveled. Now, when I was in my teens, I was particularly compassionate towards old folks and animals. And in my 20s, I started visiting old folks' homes and then volunteering at the SPCA. During my stint with the SPCA, I learned a great deal about the plight of the stray dogs. So then I said, well, I think they do need more help because human charities are already very well taken care of by the public and the government. So I dedicated my time to go hands-on to help the strays. So I joined forces with Anita, who is also a co-founder of Oscars, and nightly we feed the strays in Changi, Tanah Merah, and Punggol. We didn't want to actually start a shelter, but we encountered an old man who changed the journey of our lives. Okay. One night when we were feeding in Changi, we saw this old man coming out from a jungle track on a bicycle. So we said, "Uncle, what are you doing inside there?" And he said, "Oh, a lot of dogs." So nightly, he would go to the Changi Village Hawker Center to collect all the leftovers, and he would cycle into the jungle to feed the dogs. One day, he disappeared. Don't know whether he died or something, or he was sick. So Anita and I got worried. We said, "Oh dear, that the dogs in there have no food." So we decided to venture into the jungle, Yeah. So armed with a torchlight and a trolley stacked with basins of food, we went into the jungle. It was very dark and pretty creepy, actually. So in the jungle, we came into a clearing, and the torchlight showed the glowing eyes of many dogs. Could be about 30 of them. But they were so well behaved. They didn't bark at us, they didn't growl, and they didn't rush for the food that we brought to feed them. So we put the food down on the floor, on a newspaper, we stepped back. So they came forward, they ate the food and disappeared back into the dark jungle. The next night, when we went to the same place, they were waiting for us. And a few nights later, they got used to us. They found their confidence in us, and they were very happy to see us. Some would be wagging their tails and barking. Others, would be jumping and dancing for joy. It was really a beautiful sight. But in 2006, we received the bad news that the government was clearing the part of the jungle, which is their home, to build the aerospace. And they wanted to get rid of the dogs. So Anita and I approached the authorities and negotiated, said, "Please don't kill them. Let us try to rescue as many as we could." So they gave us 2 months, and within the 2 months, we rescued 60 of them. So what do? We had to rent space. So we rented space at Erickson Pet Farm. We didn't have any financial help, so it all came from our savings. It was really a very challenging experience, having for the first time to manage a shelter with so many dogs. There was the mad rush to vaccinate them, to sterilize them, and also we had to provide time for tender loving care for the dogs because some of them were really disorientated because this is a totally different environment from the jungle they know. Now, Oasis is home to 110 rescued strays. We are 100% shelter. We have no income. We do not do commercial boarding business like some who will reserve space to do boarding so that you board your dog or cat with them and they charge you a fee. But every dog in Oasis is a rescued stray. We run sponsorship and adoption programs. Sponsorship is when people can come forward to sponsor a dog by donating monthly a sum of money to help to maintain the dog. As for adoption, unfortunately, the adoption rate is not good because our dogs do not qualify for HDB. And also we have our very stringent criteria because we want our dogs to go to good homes. Now this is Cat. We also do rescue work, okay? This is Cat. Cat was tied to a well for 3.5 years in a fish farm. He had hardly any food, very dirty drinking water, and hardly any shelter even. You look at his eyes, they're such sad eyes. And although he's a big dog, he was nothing but skin and bone. And they even chop off his tail. It's not shown here. But I took him home, I nursed him back to health, and I teach him to gain confidence in human beings. So if you come down to Oscar's, you will see him. He has been transformed, and that's a picture of him now. We also rescue puppies, but we do not bring the puppies to the shelter because, puppies are very young and their immune system is not that good. So what we do is we board them, we foster them, or we board them with the vets so that they get all their proper vaccinations done. And then we'll put them up for adoption. Recently, we rescued 10 puppies from Tanah Merah, very young, about 2 months old, and they really needed their mother. But unfortunately, the mother was crushed by one of those racing trucks along Tanah Merah. So we took them, fostered them, and they all managed to find good homes. We also rescued a 4-month-old puppy, that's a piglet. She also had one of her hind legs crushed by a truck in Tanah Merah. The leg, unfortunately, had to be amputated, but she's doing fine. She has learned to walk on 3 legs. She's of lovely temperament, and I think Cheryl here, she can testify for it. She comes down to my place to see her. And now we are trying to find her a loving home. We have volunteers, very dedicated volunteers coming to help us. And you see that group of happy faces there. They come down every month to spring clean the shelter. And we also have even students from VJC come down regularly to help, like to bathe the dogs, walk the dogs, and to help them socialize. Even children, you see, they learn the value of friendship through the dogs. These are children of our volunteers. Of course, we have age restriction on volunteers, but if, like this, if they come with their parents, it's fine. Okay, we also have various educational institutions coming to us to learn firsthand human relationships with dogs. And we have many friends from VJC, especially VJC Paws. And we would like to thank VJC Paws for helping us, and as well as the various student groups who also help with donating money to us to help us run the shelter. Now, is it worth it? We have done well all these years. In fact, we are registered, and we are going to expand and improve on what we can do for the animals in Singapore. But there are people who call me stupid. Why are you helping animals? What will you get in return? What can they do for you? I said, hey, we are talking about doing charity, doing good work. Is it morally right to expect a return? I have not benefited materially from the dogs, but I think they have taught me many things in life. They have taught me the ethics of life, okay? Now, I have learned what is unconditional love. Now, you say, what is unconditional love? If you Google, you will find many definitions, like without any limitations. And there's one more, actually. And it is that type of love which has no bounds and is unchanging. Okay? Now, even the dogs we have rescued had gone through hell, being abused and hunted to be killed. But we find it so easy to win their confidence. All they need is love, 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 and patience. I have also learned to empathize, to feel the feelings of others, and then along the way, to learn how to appreciate meaningful relationships. I have become a stronger character through the challenges I face fighting for their rights. I'm also more steadfast, and I'm steadfast in accepting the road that I have taken. Now, it was really difficult at the beginning, very, very difficult. But I draw my strength from my favorite poem, Don't Quit. And this is one of the very lovely verses from there. And many a failure turns about when he might have won had he stuck it out. So stick to the fight when you're hardest hit. It's when things seem worse that you must not quit. You can apply this to your life's journey as well. Now, as Singapore becomes a more inclusive and distinguished society, I hope more people will be reminded of the famous saying of Gandhi. The greatness of a nation and its moral progress can be judged by the way its animals are treated. So I hope Gandhi's words will inspire you to try to build, as the future stakeholders of Singapore, a kinder society for the good of mankind. Now, there should be no ulterior motives. Be true to yourself and steadfast in what you believe in. Last but not least, be kind to animals. Thank you.